Offers at Lowe's. Save 5% on every purchase. Subject to credit approval. 5% in all purchases in store or online. By the way, I'm watching it this weekend in the NBA. And as the first round wraps up in the East, I think every single team not named the Sixers would be humiliated in the finals against Golden State or Houston. Humiliated. I don't even know if the Sixers can beat Boston because basketball can be matchups. If Jaylen Brown doesn't play for the Celtics in Game 1, I'll take the Sixers to win Game 1 and then get momentum in the series. But Philadelphia does have length that can equal Golden State, athleticism, energy. They have a 6'10" point guard who's a hard matchup. They're better at the big spot with Embiid than Golden State. I think the one team that could go to the finals, and they would lose to Golden State or Houston, and to Golden State they'd lose badly, but they wouldn't humiliate themselves. And because they're so young and energized, they've got enough shooters, a star big, a star point guard. I think it'd be a fun series. Now, you'd watch the veterans take the young guys to school. They'd manipulate the refs. They'd manipulate the tempo. And they've just, this is a dynasty in Golden State we're talking about, who's 5-1 in the playoffs now without an MVP, Steph Curry. Like, they're just flip a switch is the dumbest sports debate show question ever. Like, they do. It's not close. But you start looking at the East, and, I've always had this zany NBA theory. Whoever has the most really good players wins a series. And, Golden State's got 4. Houston's got 3.5. They've got Harden, Paul, Clint Capella, Bledsoe's a half. Indiana's just got Oladipo a half. Boston's got, I think Al Horford's good. I think Al Horford, Chris Bosh are B-plus guys. After that, Jaylen Brown's good. He's not really good. Jason Tatum's good. Could be really good, not really good now. Of course, LeBron throws a wrench into all of this because, and here's the way I would look at LeBron. You could say, well, what does Cleveland have? The reason they went, LeBron's not one player. In fact, if there was an open market, a bidding war for LeBron, think of what Indiana would have to give up to get LeBron. Oladipo, Sabonis, Miles Turner, and the rights to the movie Hoosiers, along with Larry Bird. I mean, you'd have to give up like 4 players. So LeBron is such an outlier, is so much better than the second best guy in the league. I don't even know what he's worth. He's worth like 2.5 really good players by himself. I mean, he's that valuable with the tempo, with rebounding, with assists, with fourth quarter performance. But, it is the difference between the East and the West when you're watching these playoffs. I mean, I was thinking about this driving into work this morning. Like, I like Philadelphia because they're a fun story. But, I mean, last year they were tanking. John, they were tanking at the end of the year last year. Remember, they didn't want Ben Simmons, who could have played, to play because they wanted to lose more games and get a better pick. So the Sixers were tanking actively last year, and we all love them because they just beat 49-year-old Dwayne Wade and Goran Dragic. That's why we love him. I mean, a lot of this is just emotionally outside of the city of Philadelphia. Most of us just want to see a compelling final. We just want to see an interesting Eastern Conference final. I think Philadelphia and LeBron would be a great Eastern Conference final. I would take the Sixers. Veteran newsman John Goulet.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
So the Utah Jazz had a really good series against the Thunder. They won it in 6. Their crowd was really into it. Well, round 2 got off to a little bit of a different start against the Rockets for them. They lost by 14. James Harden had 41. He had 7 3-pointers. Here was Harden talking about the win after Game 1.
I mean, for the most part, I'm going to do what I do. But once again, offensively, I think this team is, us, we're different. And so we've seen so many different defenses throughout the year that have prepared us for this moment, whether it's, like you said, Gobert, being back at the rim or teams switching or whatever. We've seen it pretty much all year. So we watch film and we figure out how can we, create threes and create opportunities for each other. And we go out there and play our butt off. Pretty simple.
When you watch that series, when you watch OKC in Utah, and I don't want to be biased here, but it felt like Utah not only won the series, but they controlled big portions of it.
Yeah.
They controlled. I mean, there was a lot of games where Utah led by 8, and you were just, they were clearly the better team. When you watch that game, how athletically overwhelmed did Utah look against Houston?
You mean Joe Ingles can't hang with them?
I mean, no, you're 5 minutes into that game. If you walked into that game and there was nobody in the arena and it was just YMCA basketball, you'd be like, oh, I'd take that team. I mean, Utah controlled Oklahoma City for long stretches. They are so athletically overmatched against Clint Capella. They have no shot in this. And I love Utah, but they got no shot in this series.
I mean, if I had to defend them, you could make the argument that even though they won their first-round series in 6 games, they had to travel, only had 1 day off before Game 1. You could make the argument there was a quick turnaround, but I wouldn't believe in that argument. I'm just saying you could possibly say that they didn't really have any time off, and the Rockets seemed to just get their stride at the end of the series against the Timberwolves.
Yeah, I just, God, Houston, when Houston plays well at home, it's, they're the kind of team that would beat Golden State a couple of games at home in Houston. I don't think they beat them in a series, but man, they are slick at home and they're rolling.
So speaking of teams that look great in the first round, not so much in Game 1 of the second round, the Pelicans and Warriors kicked off their series over the weekend. And even still without Steph Curry, Warriors won 123-101. Now, the Pelicans played up-tempo, and Klay Thompson actually admitted that it did tire them out a little bit. But here was Pelicans' Anthony Davis saying he's not discouraged after getting blown out in Game 1.
We're very confident, man. It's one game. They win by 40, they win by 1, win by 90. It's one game. It's still best out of 7. So our job is to learn from what we messed up tonight, get prepared for Game 2. We know we're a much better team than what we showed tonight defensively. We showed that last time we played here. So we just got to come out with a different mindset to have pride in our defense, and try to get out and run.
For the record, Golden State defensively, now remember this, at the end of the regular season, Golden State got beat by 40 a couple of times.
Yep.
You got to say this. Golden State defensively, the second the playoffs started, flipped the switch. Forget their offense. They were mailing in the last month defensively. They were getting beat by 40. Steve Kerr was calling them out. The playoffs started, and they're 5-1, and their defense has been phenomenal.
It has, by the way, they are expecting to have Steph Curry back for Game 2. I don't know why you would bring him back until you lose a game, but he was practicing and scrimmaging, and he should be able to play Game 2. One of the reasons for that, by the way, is the Warriors don't change their rotations. So when Steph's out, they don't play their good defenders, other good guys more minutes. They play scrubs and keep the rotations the same. Yeah. So when they get to the playoffs, it doesn't change anything. Yeah. And finally, the NFL draft over the weekend was held in Dallas. And I don't know if you remember this, but last year, when it was in Philadelphia, Cowboys wide receiver Drew Pearson went up on stage to announce a pick.
Yeah.
And trolled Eagles fans a little bit.
Yeah.
He thanked them for allowing him to have such a long, successful career playing against them. Well, this year, the Eagles had their chance to return the favor, and their former kicker, David Akers, did not waste any time to troll the Cowboys right back.
Tonight, I'm representing the Philadelphia Eagles, NFC East champs, divisional champs, NFC champs, and world champs. The world champs. Hey, Dallas, the last time you were in the Super Bowl, these draft picks weren't born.
Brutal.
It's kind of funny. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I don't find it as funny as maybe some other people. But couldn't I argue a former kicker who never won a Super Bowl probably shouldn't be trolling?
I will say that I really do like what the NFL is doing, moving the draft every year. I think it's great. I think it's really...
This is going to continue. Wherever they keep going, you're going to have players that are going to do this, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of going to become a thing.
I think it's really funny. I really enjoyed it. Dallas, Philadelphia, Chicago have all taken the baton from New York and have hit it out of the park. Philadelphia was amazing last year. I think Dallas was better this year. I mean, it was just incredible. Veteran newsman John Goulet.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line News.
He played 14 NBA seasons, a champion with the Spurs, co-captain of the Killer Threes and the Big Three Network, our friend Steven Jackson, who has all worked out. What a great weekend for me. Westbrook went down. Westbrook went down in flames. LeBron was great. Great weekend for me. I mean, listen, players like certain people.
Right.
Players love Kobe. Players love Kobe. I don't know if it's the swag, it's his attitude, it's the remember when the guy put a ball in his face and he didn't flinch?
Matt Barnes.
Okay, Kobe is loved by the players, but Kobe in Game 7s, in his 5, averaged 21 a game and shot 37%.
Right.
He was awful. LeBron is not as beloved by players because a little passive-aggressive. Sometimes he's not aggressive. You're kind of like, LeBron's last 5 Game 7s, he's literally 20% better than he is in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ask players, let me guess, you think Kobe's more clutch than LeBron?
Of course.
Players love Kobe.
Jordan too.
Well, Jordan, you can have a legitimate. I'll never, Michael's Michael.
Right.
But there is this feeling Kobe's clutch, and the numbers don't bear it out.
Yeah, the 5 championships do though.
I know, but he had Shaq.
Not all of them.
A lot of them. So when you look at LeBron and Kobe, but LeBron shoots almost 50%. Kobe, and again, I think Kobe's first ballot Hall of Famer, shoots 37%. But you would take Kobe in the last 8 minutes of a game.
Definitely over LeBron. Definitely.
Why?
If I had to draft a player, I would draft LeBron, no question. But at the end of the game, Kobe and Jordan, they want the ball. Just something about those moments that they not running from. We've seen times where LeBron should have been that guy and made those clutch shots, and he didn't make those plays. And a lot of times he had Kyrie to make those plays, and he didn't have to make them. But Kobe and Jordan wanted the ball. We knew at the end of the games that they were going to make these plays, and they wanted them. And I'm not taking nothing from LeBron, but if I had the choice, I would go with Kobe.
But you said you draft LeBron first.
Yes, I mean, people always ask about this Jordan-LeBron comparison. Look, Jordan is definitely great, but if I had to tell my kids what I want them to be like, LeBron James by far. I want my kids to look up to LeBron James. I don't even care if they know about Jordan. Okay? Yeah, if they wear his shoes, they know about Jordan because that was my era. But I want my kids to be just like LeBron before Jordan because he does everything right as far as off the court, as far as bringing his friends along, as far as using his voice, as far as being dominant and approaching the game the right way his whole career. He's done everything right. He hasn't had a scratch on his career in my mind. And I love Jordan, but I want my kids to be just like LeBron.
So LeBron's going to have to play virtually every minute to beat Toronto, does he?
I think so, especially after this last series, because they should have lost this last series. They had better coaching and made better decisions at the end of games. They would have beat Cleveland by far. LeBron shouldn't have got that game-winning shot off. Bogdanovich, he came right by you. You and Thaddeus Young, double LeBron. Don't let him catch it. If Kevin Love, Kyle Korver, J.R. Smith hit a shot, a game-winning shot that they haven't hit all year, we'll live with that. It was horrible coaching by Indiana, and they deserve to lose that series.
By the way, are you rooting for – when you look at Philadelphia, and we were just joking that we all now are into Philadelphia because they beat that powerhouse Goran Dragic and 49-year-old D. Wade.
Right. I'm not big on Goran Dragic.
I mean, I like their athleticism. Are we getting a little overheated on Philadelphia, which is a baby team beating a Miami team that was bad?
Well, I don't think we're getting ahead of ourselves for the simple fact that if you look at how the young this team is, if you look at how Ben Simmons controlled this series at this young age, didn't get rattled, him and Embiid have a little Tim Duncan in them as far as keeping their composure and not getting rattled. At that age, you can't teach that. And for them to do that in the round one and to win that series and win it, in great fashion and being dominant, it's scary to see how these kids can grow, especially just their first time in the playoffs.
So you think Philly beats Boston?
I think it's going to be a good series. I don't know if they're going to win or not. They have the better players.
Philadelphia's got better players.
No question. They got better
have
stars.
better length. They have the better big. They've had the better point. There's no question. Philly should win the series.
They don't have the better coach.
I know, but they're longer and they're better at big and point.
Right.
And by the way, Jaylen Brown may not play in the first game.
But Philly has a
Philly has got a good enough coach.
They got a championship coach. Brett Brown, that's my guy. He's a championship coach.
Yeah,
He's been in San Antonio.
My gut feeling here is if Jaylen Brown doesn't play or is banged up, Philadelphia wins the series. But I do think, I mean, I personally, and I said this a week ago, and people thought I was nuts. I said LeBron's still great, but I don't think the league's beholden to LeBron James. I'm more interested to watch the Sixers Celtics than I am Raptors LeBron.
Oh no question. Everybody want to see that old Boston Philadelphia matchup, but until someone dethrones LeBron, he's on my. I'm not saying anybody's going to come out of the East. I'm still got LeBron coming out the East until somebody knock him off.
So let me guess. You're going to defend Russell Westbrook. That was awful.
Yeah, I'm going to defend him because I've been in those shoes.
What do you mean you've been in those shoes?
I played in the playoffs in Utah. Was shooting a free throw, and the guy had a life-size cutout of my body with, you seen the movie Life? Those black and white, Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence?
I haven't.
They had the black and white jail suits on back in the day. It was a cardboard cutout with my face on it with a guy in a jail suit holding it right under the goal, right under the basket, where if you were watching the game on TV, you could see it broad day. And and this guy actually, for this guy was actually a good fan, but the cardboard cutout kind of threw me off. I really feel like if it was a bigger name player and their face was on that, the NBA or somebody
would not allow it.
Oh, they would tell them take it down. The camera sees it every time.
So it bothered you?
It didn't bother me, but it was there. It was there, and I went and signed it for him after the game because the guy, he wasn't a jerk. So he was just holding up trying to distract me. Other people in the stands were saying racial stuff about our family, all kind of stuff. Yeah, we heard it. And if Russ said that, he's definitely right. And that's the only city I've dealt with that in my NBA career is Utah. Now, it's one of the toughest places to play. And that has nothing to do with why they lost. Donovan Mitchell was by far the best player in that series. Yep. By far. Yeah. But if Russ said that, I couldn't disagree with him.
Kobe Bryant had a very difficult situation in the middle of his career in Colorado. You know that Kobe was taunted everywhere. I never saw Kobe lash out at fans like that.
I don't think I have either. Now, I've seen him turn around and say stuff to fans.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
we all
mean,
have.
Westbrook was unhinged.
Yeah, well, it's just like you walking out of work and somebody just standing in the parking lot and they get in your face.
I just roll my eyes.
Well, I'm different. Any man get in my space, you're going to get the same reaction from me. Don't get in my space. Don't scream at me. That's just like, if you that close where you can say something and spit hits my face, that's disrespectful.
Well, no, there's no question.
Yeah, that's disrespectful.
But again, if you're the 10-year veteran, if you're you're the MVP, the cameras are on you.
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't care how much money. You can't pay me. See, that's why I was never a franchise player. Because there's not enough money you can pay me. It's not a role you can give me that I will bite my tongue when I feel disrespected by anyone. I don't care how much money you give me, what role you give me. If I feel disrespected as a man, I'm going to respond to the way I would want to respond, regardless how other people feel about it. If I feel disrespected, then that's how I want to handle it.
I don't have a problem as much with that, but once you're the MVP, it's like being the quarterback.
I disagree.
The rules change.
If I'm the MVP or I'm not the MVP, I'm the same person. Russ is the same guy.
You don't think Russell Westbrook now, people in the league don't look at him and think, I mean, he shot 43 times in the last 2 games.
Well, I mean, as players.
Or 82, excuse me.
As players, obviously, I want to see him with a coach that can pull.
So you're blaming the coach.
Oh, no question. The offense was terrible. Anybody that know anything about basketball that watched the game, that is not the offense for you. Their offense can't be Golden State-ish. You have 3 of the best one-on-one players in the NBA. Why are you not running ISO plays? Why are you running pick and rolls for Melo to shoot threes? Melo is best right there on the block at a 3-dribble max. Paul George is a 6'9" guard. He should be posting up. Perfect example, Colin. I'm going to give all y'all example. Yesterday, when Cleveland took off with the game, where did LeBron go? To the block. He posted up. He got 2 shots. Next thing you know, Jeff Green was getting layups off his post-ups. If they post up these one-on-one players today, these guys would succeed. Their offense that they had in OKC was the wrong offense for them because they gave Russ too much freedom and they played too fast with one-on-one players.
What do you mean they gave Russ too much freedom? What does that mean?
When you have guys like Paul and Carmelo, you have to slow the game down. You have to know when to slow the game down. This where Russ needs to get a little Chris Paul in his game. When you have players like Paul George and Carmelo, you have to slow the game down and give these guys the ball and put them.
He doesn't really have that gear.
He don't have that at all. He don't know how to put these guys in positions to succeed. And Carmelo, where he succeeds, where he was great in New York, where he got all his points, is right there in that mid area, right there by the post, 2-3, where he can face up and pull. That's his game. Paul George, if he posted up 2 guards, they would get Melo, he would get wide open shots instead of those pick and roll threes. He'll get a double team, swing, 3-pointer. That's the easiest shot in the game.
I just don't think Westbrook has that kind of self-awareness. I think Chris Paul does.
Right.
By the way, this is my knock on Derrick Rose. Derrick's an unbelievable talent, but Derrick didn't have the self-awareness to
make other guys better.
He just like some guys. John Wall's really talented, but he's always fighting with Bradley Beal, and I'm like, dude, Bradley Beal's an elite shooter. He should be your best friend. And John's not a shooter. He's a passer more than a shooter. I don't know. I think that Westbrook brand took a ding this weekend. His name is Steven Jackson, 14 years in the league. Great seeing you, bud.
Thanks for having me always.
Coming up next, almost shocking, a stat from the draft. Plus, New England did what they said they wouldn't do. Big news in the last 2 weeks, Simply Safe won the Editor's Choice Awards from CNET Magazine, PC Magazine, and The Wirecutter. 3 respected product testers. They put Simply Safe through a battery of tests, compared it to other home security products, and Simply Safe won every time. They protect over 2 million Americans. There is no contract. There's never been hidden fees. This is not a gadget. It's comprehensive protection for windows, assets, doors, your entire home. $15 a month. That is it. The sensors are nearly invisible. No contract. Go to simplysafecolin.com to protect your home and more. SimplySafe, COLIN.com, created by college students who were robbed, couldn't afford a system, and made one up. Now, years later, it's an industry leader. SimplySafeColin.com.